Alright, so good evening and welcome again. We're going to start tonight with some breath work in a seat. I'm going to suggest seated hero posture, supported. So you're either going to sit directly on your heels, or like me, I've got a block in between my heels so that the hips are just a little bit higher, slightly less bend in the knees. Let your hands rest comfortably in your lap. And once you arrive here, softly close your eyes. Just give your body a few moments to adjust to this shape. Feeling your toes soften and allowing the tops of the feet and tops of the ankles to press into the floor. Let go of any squeezing in your calf or your hamstrings. Feel the contact of your shins and the front of the knees gently pressing into the floor, grounding you to your mat. Notice the weight of your hands in your lap. Let there be a heaviness from the shoulders all the way down through the elbows to the tips of the fingers, releasing any holding or tension from the upper back. And notice where your spine is in space. Does it feel like you're leaning forward or backward, or more into the right or left hip? If you notice any imbalance, just subtly shift your upper body weight until you find your center point. And then start to notice your breath. Listening to its sound. Noticing the sensation of the air as it comes through the nostrils into the body. Noticing the sensation as it leaves the body. Tonight, before we begin to move and warm up, I'd like to practice what I call equal ratio breathing or balanced breath. And so we're going to try to inhale for the same length of time as we exhale. And so it's going to require maybe counting for a few rounds of breath. And what you might find is that it can be easier to slow down and extend your exhalation breath than it can be the inhalation. So go with however long you can sustain your inhalation phase. And whatever that number is, seconds or beats, that's how long you're going to exhale as well. And if you get really comfortable with this, see if you can introduce a moment of pause at the top of each breath in, feeling suspended before you start your breath out. And at the bottom of that breath out, a moment of pause, nothing happening, some suspension before you then release to the new inhalation. So take some time quietly to yourself to observe the breath. Find that number of seconds that feels right in your body as you begin to practice this balanced breath or equal ratio breathing. If you're very comfortable with the sensation of pausing, of retaining the breath before you exhale and before you inhale, perhaps you can try practicing incorporating that same duration, whatever your count is for the breath. Try and use that same count for the length of your pause. If your body reacts against this, if you suddenly feel tense, or if it causes you to feel anxious about your next breath, then cut that in half. We'll take a few more rounds of this balanced breath. Good. After your next breath out, resume a smooth breath without any of the pauses between each part of the cycle and without purposefully balancing. So however you naturally gravitate toward the length in the breath, but still slower and deeper than your regular everyday breathing. Just notice how the body feels after practicing that. Good, and then flip your eyes open. Good, from this position, come up to kneel for a moment, just releasing the bend in your knees. Inhale and raise the arms up over your shoulders. Exhale, palms come together, bring them down in front of your heart center. 2 more times. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead, stretching through the waist. Exhale, palms to your heart center. Once more, inhale, raise the arms up and overhead. Exhale, palms to your heart center. Good, lean forward and plant the hands on the mat just for a moment. Step your left leg out to the side. You're gonna still be kneeling on your right knee. Good, from here, come on back up, balancing, preparing for gate pose. Press firmly into your left foot, and you can rest your left hand on the thigh. Raise your right arm up over the shoulder again, and inhale. Exhale, take a side bend, leaning over toward your straight leg. And as you do this, tuck your tailbone down toward the floor, which is going to feel like you're pressing your pelvis forward in space so that you really elongate the front of the right hip joint and the upper part of the quads. One more deep breath in. As you exhale, rise up. Good, release the right arm. Lean down, putting the hands on the mat, and just step that left knee back to where it was. And now the right side. Take your right leg out to the side, grounding the foot like it's in Warrior Two. And walk your hands in and lift yourself up again, so you're now kneeling over the left knee. Good, engage the straight leg, and the right hand can rest on that thigh. Inhale and raise your left arm up yet long. Exhale, side bend, leaning over to the right for gate pose. Tuck your tailbone down toward the floor, maintaining that deep, steady breath. One more deep breath in. Exhale, lift up, release the arm, lean down, putting the hands on the mat, and step that knee back in. So you're in your table pose. Then you're going to sit down on the heels again, finding that supported hero. Or if like you've got the blocking between your heels, your hips are going on the block. Good, you can rest your hands on your lap again. We're going to take some seated spinal waves. And in this position, really focusing on the pelvic tilting action that initiates this movement. You can use your hands here to also help facilitate what goes on in the thoracic part of the spine. So on the inhalation breath, drive your hands toward your hips as you tilt the pelvis forward and arch your spine, squeezing the shoulder blades back as you lift the chest. And then exhale, tuck your tailbone toward your knees, slide your hands forward to help facilitate the rounding in the back, and you can drop your chin to your chest. So let's move back and forth, inhaling. Arch the spine, pelvis tilts forward, shoulders squeeze back. Exhale, round the spine, tailbone tucks toward the knees, hands slide forward as you round. Continuing on at the speed of your own breath, taking a few more rounds. Find that motion in your pelvis, anterior and posterior tilt. One more in each direction. After the exhalation phase, you can return to a neutral upright spine. Good. From here, take the arms out to the side in a cactus position, so 90-degree bend to your elbows. And we're going to focus just on that thoracic opening here. So we're going to try and keep a pretty neutral pelvis and neutral lower back. On the inhalation breath, bring your elbows back behind you as you puff your chest forward, arching just in the upper back. And then exhale, bring the elbows together in front of your face, joining the palms. Try and round your upper back, spreading the shoulder blades. A few more times. Inhale, arching the upper back, elbows move back in space. Exhale, rounding the upper back, elbows and palms meet each other. So take this at your own pace with your breath, and I'm trying to keep the pelvic tilt neutral and not actually utilize this to move the spine. So just isolating. One more in each direction. Good, and then come on back to neutral. You can release your arms by your sides. Let's come forward into table pose again. I'm just going to get rid of my block and switch so I'm facing the long direction of my mat. Good, and then let's just release the knees. They've been bent for a while. In table pose, straighten the right leg behind you. You can tuck the toes on the mat so the balls of the feet are on the floor, and just press back through the right heel, straightening that leg, stretching through the calf muscles, lengthening your Achilles. Good, the right knee down in table. Other side, stretch your left leg back, tuck the toes under so you can press through the balls of the feet and reach your left heel back as you straighten the left leg. Good, and then release the left knee back to your table pose. Right side again, straighten the right leg behind you, this time keeping it up in the air about as high as your hip. You can point the toes or flex at the ankle, whatever is more comfortable. Try and keep the pelvis square and press equally through both of your hands. Feel your shoulder blades retract back toward your hips as you lengthen the crown of the head forward. Good, from here reach your left arm out in front of you. Let the thumb face up toward the ceiling so that you externally rotate your upper arm, finding one long line of energy from the fingertips to the toes. Good, one more deep breath in. As you exhale, put the hand down and bring the right knee into your chest, rounding the back, so push through your palms. And then step the right foot forward in between your hands. Good, come up on the fingertips or feel free to utilize blocks. Let's slide the left knee farther back so you have a lower hip position here in this lunge. Feel your pelvis press forward and down. And then let's inhale, rise up, lifting the arms over the shoulders for crescent lunge. Elevating the rib cage and the chest, gliding the arms back in space slightly to arch the upper back. Good, from this position, wrap your right arm around your lower back, letting the elbow bend so the forearm kind of rests at your lumbar. And then start twisting your upper body to the right and cross your left hand over to the outside of the right knee. My palm is still open, it's facing outward, and I'm pressing gently against the knee to help twist. Spine is still tall in that crescent lunge shape. The right shoulder blade is drawing down, even as the arm is wrapped around the back. Good, one more deep breath in. Exhale, just gently rotate your torso forward, let that arm peel from out behind you, and lean down, placing the hands on the mat or your blocks. Good, from here, rock your hips back in space and straighten your right leg for our half split pose. Lift the toes up so you're just pressing through your heel. And let's try this in the flat back position here first tonight. So feel your chest and rib cage lift up away from the thigh a little bit and try and lengthen your back rather than folding forward. Good, nice deep breathing here. Strong energy through the heel as it presses down through the floor, trying to extend the right knee. Good, one more breath in. Exhale, return to your low lunge. Let's tuck the back toes under now and lift that knee nice and high off of the mat. We're gonna hop the back foot a few inches closer to the front of the mat and then press the hips back again, straightening the front leg for pyramid pose. This time now folding forward, letting the upper back round gently, allowing the head to drop. Really connect your back heel to the floor. Feel both kneecaps gently lift up, squeezing the front of the thighs. Good, from here, inhale, lift your head and chest, flat back. Exhale, bend your front knee and step to the top of your mat, hanging over your legs in Uttanasana, forward fold. You can bend both knees slightly, just notice the difference between the right and left sides. And take a few breaths here. Good. From here, bend your knees deeply, plant your palms on the mat, and step back into plank pose, upper push-up position. Line your shoulders over your palms, squeeze the legs together, and hold for 3 breaths. center down here, point the toes, squeeze your shoulders and elbows back. Inhale to a low or a high cobra pose. Exhale and roll down, releasing it. Twice more. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, let it go. Last one, inhale. Exhale, let it go. Good, press back up to your hands and knees. Adjust your knees so they're aligned for table pose. Adjust your palms so they're shoulder width apart. Good, and then let's take all of that for the other side of the body. So we're extending the left leg back, keeping the leg about as high as the hip. Toes can be pointed or flexing at the ankle. Finding that square pelvis, even pressure through both hands. Good, and then completing this cross-lateral balance, reach your right arm out in front of you, thumb pointing up, little external rotation of your upper arm bone as the shoulder blades glide back toward your hips and the crown of the head stretches forward, lengthening through the spine. Good, from here, exhale the hand back to the floor, and then bend the left knee, hug it up into your chest, rounding your back now as you push through your palms. Good, and then look forward, step that left foot up in between the hands. Come up on your fingertips or your blocks, and walk your right knee farther back on your mat so your pelvis can get lower in this position. Good, take a moment, let this side settle. And then inhale when you're ready, rise up, lifting the arms up over the shoulders for low crescent lunge. Elevate your ribcage and your chest, and glide your arms back in space, opening your thoracic area. Good, steady breath here. From this position, take your left arm out to the side and then wrap it around your back, letting your forearm rest in your lumbar curve. And then start to twist from your belly button, rotating your upper body to the left. Cross your right hand over to the outside of the left knee. So the back of my hand is in contact, my palm is still open, and gently press at that contact to help you twist deeper. One more breath in. Exhale, gently face forward. Just release the arms and lean down. Hands to the floor or your blocks. From here, send your hips back and straighten the left leg for your half split. Remove your hands or blocks back with you. And take the flat back variation here by lifting your chest, trying to lengthen your lumbar so you're not tucking your tailbone down, but finding that anterior tilt so your tailbone lifts up and back behind you. Good, one more breath in. Exhale and return to your low lunge. Tuck your back toes under now and lift and straighten that leg for high lunge. And then hop your back foot a few inches closer to the front of your mat. Press your hips back again and straighten the front leg, this time folding over it for pyramid pose. Ground your back heel to the mat as you try to straighten both of your legs. Squeezing your quadricep muscles to gently lift your kneecaps. Good. The next time you inhale, lift your head and chest. Exhale, bend your front knee and step forward, hanging over both of your legs in Uttanasana. Feet are hip width apart. You have a slight bend to both knees here. As you breathe in the fold. Good. From this position, we're going to rise up to stand. Open your arms, come through the flat back, and then hips forward as you reach the hands overhead. Exhale, arms to your sides. Good. Let's move through a few slow, modified shins. Inhale, flat back position. Exhale, bend your knees and walk back to plank pose. Good, take a deep breath in. Exhale, slowly lower all the way to the floor. Point your toes, squeeze your shoulders back. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, push up to the hands and knees. Exhale, send the hips to the heels as you press through your palms, and then lift up for downward facing dog. Adjust your feet a few inches apart. Spread the fingers wide as you push forward. Lengthening the arms. Feel your triceps actively engage, which is helping to straighten your elbows. Let your head be heavy so that your neck can get a little longer. And on your next breath in, look forward. As you breathe out, step to your hands. Hands to the shins. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, reaching over your head. Exhale, release. Good. One more round like that, nice and slow. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, plank pose. One breath in. Exhale, slowly lower down. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, up to the knees. Exhale, hips to heels, and then up into the air, finding downward facing dog. Take a moment to settle in, and then find relative stillness in your body. Maintain that movement of your breath, constantly flowing in and out, slowly and deeply. One more breath in, looking forward. As you breathe out, step to your hands. Inhale, flat back position. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up to stand. Exhale, and release your arms. We're going to modify the Sun series now, incorporating crescent lunge into the sequence. On an inhalation breath, raise your arms overhead. Exhale, dive forward and fold. Inhale, flat back position. Exhale, bend your knees and touch the mat. Step your left foot all the way to the back of your mat, and then lower that knee to the ground. Inhale, rise up to low crescent lunge, lifting the arms up over the shoulders as you gently arch back. Good. Take a few breaths here. The next time you exhale, touch the left hand down, spinal twist variation. Press against the mat as you rotate from your waist, continuing to reach up with the right arm. One more breath in. Exhale the right hand to the mat. Inhale, lift your back knee high. Exhale, step back and up into downward facing dog. Adjusting your feet, settling in for a moment. Good. From this down dog, raise your left leg up into the air, 3-limb dog. Look forward as you exhale, bring the knee to your chest, shift forward like plank pose, and step that foot up in between the hands. Once you're here, lower your back knee to the ground. So you should be in a low lunge on the other side of the body. From here, inhale, raise the arms up, into crescent lunge, elevating the ribcage and the chest. Take a few breaths. The next time you exhale, touch the right hand to the floor, spinal twist. Push against the ground as you rotate from your belly button and reach the left arm up. One more breath in. Exhale the left hand to the floor. Inhale and lift your back knee high. And this time we're stepping forward. Rock your hips back and push off of your back foot to step to the front of the mat. Once you're there, take your hands to your shins. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold, dropping the head. Inhale, rise up, reaching up and over your head. Exhale, release. Good, last round. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, dive forward, dropping your head. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, bend your knees and touch the ground. Step your right foot back this time, all the way to the end of your mat, and then gently lower that knee to the floor. Inhale, rise up, low crescent lunge, lifting the arms up over the shoulders. Steady breath as you press down through the front and back foot, gently squeezing the inner thighs toward the midline of your mat so the foundation is stable. And the next time you exhale, take the right hand to the mat, spinal twist, rotating from your waist as you revolve the ribcage, reaching up still with the left arm. One more breath in. Exhale the left hand to the floor. Lift your back knee up nice and high, tucking the toes for high lunge, and then plant your palms, step back and up into downward facing dog. Good, take a moment, adjust your pose if you need to, and settle in for a few breaths. And then from here, we're gonna raise the right leg up into the air, three-legged dog. Inhale. Exhale, bring the knee to the chest as you shift forward like plank pose, and then step that foot in between your hands. Good, lower your back knee to the floor. Inhale, rise up, lifting the arms over the shoulders for low crescent lunge. Good, squeeze your inner thighs toward an imaginary midline on your mat, energizing the legs. On your next breath out, spinal twist. Left hand to the mat, rotating from the waist, right arm reaching up. One more deep breath in. Exhale, right hand to the floor. Good, from here, tuck your back toes. Inhale and lift that knee high. And then rock your hips back and push off of the back foot to step forward. Inhale, flat back position. Exhale, forward fold. Good, we're gonna hang here for a few breaths. Bend your knees kind of generously so your upper body makes contact with your legs. And then hug the upper body to the lower body. You can either hold the back of your calves or your ankles or your heels. Feel your breath move against the front of your thighs. Create space in your upper body when you breathe in. And then create more connection to your lower body as you breathe out. Engaging your abdominals, bringing yourself closer to the legs. Two more breaths here. Good, let go of the legs, place the hands on the mat, step back to downward facing dog just for a brief moment. And then lower your knees to the floor, come into child's pose. Point the toes, sit back on your heels, and let your upper body soften here. as you close the eyes. Use this time here in our resting posture, perhaps to come back to that balanced, equal ratio breath. For me, my number was 4 beats. Just trying to slow the breath down again and finding that balanced ratio. And when you're ready to come out of child's pose, we're going to return to table. So come on up onto the hands and knees. And we're going to take threading the needle, working on a little more thoracic opening and twisting for the spine. So let's start by raising the left arm first. You can inhale and reach that arm up as you open to the left side. And then exhale with some momentum, sweep that arm under you, coming down to the outside of the shoulder and putting the left side of your head down. Good, take a moment here. And then move your right hand over a little and push the ground with your right hand and start to lean back onto the left shoulder more. Feeling that action help to kind of pull the shoulder blade away from the spine, stretching all of that musculature in the upper back. Good, can you keep your hips more or less in line over your knees? They might shift a little, but try not to totally collapse to the right. So draw them back if that happened. Breathing in the twist, you're welcome to stay here or take other variations, one of which might be the right arm lifting up, falling back, or maybe wrapping the arm around the back like we did a little earlier in that crescent lunge twist. If you want to play with any leg variations, you could try straightening your right leg behind you with the toes tucked, or you might like lifting the leg up in the air. It's not my favorite thing, but it can be a fun challenge to work on balance that way. Whatever variation you explored, just reverse the steps you took to get there. So for me, I'm going to gently bring the right knee back into the table position, and then release my right arm from behind me, reaching it up. And then hand to the floor where we all started, and then you can push down to come off of your left shoulder. And let's reach the left arm up again, just counter twist, and then back down to table. But before we do the other side, just move around in table a little bit. It might be spiral waves, it might be some more side to side motion or circular direction. Just take any movement through your hips, spine, shoulders, and neck. That might feel good right now. Good, and then when you're ready for the other side, find a neutral table pose. We're gonna raise the right arm up as you inhale, reach the hand to the ceiling. Exhale with some momentum, sweep the arm under you, outer right shoulder, and the right side of your head come to the ground. Good, pause for a moment, finding stability here. And then left hand is gonna move over a little and push the floor strongly so that you can lean back on your right shoulder and feel that gentle spreading of the shoulder blade away from the spine. Correct your hips if they really shifted to the left. Settle into your breath here. And then again, you're welcome to take any variations of this, or you can be here. This is a great twist, challenge for the shoulders. Or maybe you're taking the left arm up, or the bind, or straightening the left leg behind you. steps you took to get there, just mindfully undoing until you get back to the left hand on the floor, and then press down against your mat, coming off the right shoulder. Reach the right arm up again, countering the twist, and then back to your table pose. And take any movement again here in table. I'm going to start with some spinal wave-esque movements, but then take some side-to-side motion, kind of some circular motion. Just move around through your body. Good, and then arrive back at a neutral table pose. Good, from here I like to come into pigeon. We're going to come into it just from table. So come up onto your fingertips so you have a little extra space between your torso and the floor. And slide your right knee up in between your hands and then wiggle the foot forward so it doesn't get stuck under your pelvis. And then walk your left knee farther back and down. And still on your fingertips for a moment, if you can angle your right knee a little bit wider now that you're here, just that'll help keep your pelvis balanced. And then go ahead and fold down any amount. Wherever you get to in your forward bend, just try and do as little active work as possible to support yourself. So even if you're resting on your hands still, can you let your shoulders feel soft? Or if you're resting on your elbows and your forearms, can you soften your abdomen, your neck? Let your back leg relax. And just enjoy your breath here. You can close your eyes if you like. From here, let's rise back up, come onto the fingertips. And we're going to transition to a seated pose from here. So lean into your right hip now, so that your left hip starts to open, and then slide the left leg forward to the front of the mat. We're going to come to nose to knee pose, Janu Shirshasana. The left leg is straight out in front of you. The right leg, which was in pigeon, is still bent. Just slide the sole of the foot to the inner left thigh. Good. Take your fingertips to the floor on either side of your straight leg. Press down against the mat to help you sit up nice and tall. And of course, you have the option to do this with your hips elevated. So if you want to grab a folded blanket or anything for support, take the time to do that. But before we fold forward, feel like you're twisting in this pose. So rotate your belly button away from your bent knee toward your left foot. Take a nice deep breath in. And then exhale, drop the chin, start to lean your upper body forward toward the straight leg. You can walk your hands forward, extending the arms, and hold wherever your hands naturally land at your straight leg. Good. The next time you inhale, let's rise back up. And then we're going to release the pose, cross your ankles in front of you, lean forward and put the hands down and step back into table. Good. All right, from table we're coming into pigeon with the left knee forward. So come up on your fingertips so you have a little more space. Slide your left knee up in between your hands and then wiggle the foot out of the way of your right thigh. Walk your right knee farther back so your pelvis gets low. And then if you can, open your left knee out to a slightly wider angle, a little bit wider than your hip bone. Settling in and folding forward and pigeon whenever you're ready. When you're ready to come out, let's inhale and lift back up, propping up onto your hands, and then let yourself sink into your left hip so that your right hip starts to open, and then you'll be able to slide that leg out to the side and in front of you. Good. Adjust your stance so that we can take our seated nose to knee pose. Right leg is straight forward. Bring the left foot so that the sole of the foot meets the inner right thigh. Sit up tall with your hands on the floor on either side of your straight leg, pushing down against the mat to lengthen the spine. And before you fold, start to twist your torso away from the bent knee. So rotating from your belly button to the right. Good. Deep breath in. Exhale, drop your chin and start to lean forward over your straight leg. Walk your hands forward and hold wherever they naturally land. Feel your spine lengthen forward on the inhalation phase of the breath. And as your abdominals contract with the exhalation, you can find more folding quality. Good. Next time you inhale, slowly rise up. Good. Let's exhale and release the left leg. You can take it out in front of you. Just lean your hands behind your body, resting on the palms. Shake out the legs a little bit, wiggle the ankles and the knees. Just let go of some of the energy from the lower body. Good. And then from here, you can bend your knees, slide your hips forward a little, and come down onto your back. Once you're here, bring your knees to your chest, hug your arms around the legs, and rock a little bit back and forth, massaging your lower back and your hips. And let's end with a reclined twist. You can slide your left leg down on the mat. Keep your right knee toward the body, but put some more space between your thigh and your rib cage. And then cross the knee over and down toward the left side of your mat. Float your right arm out to the right side, opening the chest. Good. Take several deep breaths here. And as always, you have the option to adjust your bottom hip over to the right side of your mat a little bit, and that will help align your SI joints. Good. Last breath in. And exhale, unwind. Good. Plant both feet on the ground with your knees bent. Adjust your hips to center. Pause for a moment to let your spine and ribcage settle. Good. And then slide your right leg down in front of you. Bring your left knee in, but not too close. And then cross it over and down toward the right side of your mat. Left arm floats out to the left. Good. Optional adjustment. Bottom hip moves over to the left a little bit. Take your last few deep, mindful breaths here before we let it release in Shavasana. Last breath in. Exhale, gently unwind. Good. Bend both knees and plant your feet on the floor. Adjust your hips so they're centered below your shoulders. Let your arms relax down a little lower by your sides. You can adjust your upper back if you need to. And just take a moment to let your upper body settle into the floor. Gently close your eyes. And when you're ready to come into Shavasana, slide your legs down one at a time, letting them relax out in front of you. Take one final deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Let go of the deep breathing now as you feel your jaw release, letting your tongue and throat relax, and all of the muscles in your face soften. And let that relaxed energy trickle down through the rest of your body. breath. And begin to move a little bit in your body. And then eventually bend your knees and turn over to one side, curling up into a fetal pose for a brief moment, pausing to check in with yourself and notice how you feel. Stay with that inner focus as you make your way back up to a comfortable seat with as little effort as possible, keeping the eyes closed. Once you're there, feel your spine get tall again as your breath becomes deeper. And then join the palms together in front of your heart, and we'll end our practice by chanting Om one time. Take a deep inhalation. Exhale and gently bow your head, acknowledging yourself for making the time and the space to practice this evening and expressing gratitude to your body. And thank you for being here tonight. Have a wonderful night's sleep. I hope to see you again Thursday morning. Thank you.